Well, about 10 o'clock last night, we were able to reach an agreement between the House and Senate negotiators on the budget. The governor has indicated that he agrees with it. So we are now in the process of putting all of that on paper and getting the bills ready, and hopefully by Monday night we'll have a budget that's been voted on by the full legislature and we'll be able to get out of here.
The House has passed a resolution to extend the session, is that correct?
Yeah, it extends the session on what's called on paper. It allows us more time to get bills filed. We will still complete our work within the 90 days that are allotted to us. It won't cost anybody anything else. We won't get paid any additional money. But by extending the session on paper, we're able to file bills in the last few days of the session, which there's some constitutional issues with regard to when you can file bills and pass bills. And so that'll allow us to meet the constitutional requirements, at the same time won't cost anybody anything.
What was the key to the compromise, in your opinion?
The end of the session. Nobody wanted to go home without a budget, and as we got closer and closer, people began to realize on both sides that we had to reach an agreement of some kind, even if it meant giving up something in the compromise process, and so it broke that loose. There were a lot of people up here. I mean, we had a lot of interested parties up here, education folks, mental health folks, supervisors, agriculture folks, others that had an interest in this budget process, and it always helps to have involvement from the public. This is the people's capital. We represent the people, we work with the people, and every now and then they have to remind us of that. And I think when they come up here and talk to us and call us on the phone and tell us what their interests are, that's one way to remind us, and I think that helped break it loose.
And as the education chairman, how do you feel about the K-12 budget at this point?
Well, we're $300 million below where we were 4 years ago, and so I don't feel good about that. In terms of where we started out this year and where we are now, I feel okay. The governor had wanted to cut $65 million out of it. We wound up cutting 12. So in terms of a compromise, I think we're better off than we might have been. And at least they'll be able to plan their budgets. They've got enough lead time now to go ahead and know where they're going to be next year. Once we get the bills finalized, the State Department of Education will be able to allocate it out among all the school districts, and they can go about planning their budgets for next year. So,
will it still be a tough budget for those local school districts?
It's going to be a tough budget the next 2 or 3 or 4 years, yeah. And everybody said the same thing. The governor said that. We've said that. The State of Commerce has said that. We're not in for a quick rebound. The money's better. We're $21 million ahead of the estimate in terms of state tax collections through yesterday, with 2 days left to go. So, with yesterday and today left to go. So we're doing better than we anticipated, but we're just going to have to ride it out. It's not enough to put us back where we were 4 years ago.
Well, everybody gave. I mean, specifically go point by point. But I mean, that part of the process is compromised, and everybody wanted to spend a little bit more in certain areas. Certain people wanted to spend less in certain areas, but overall, I mean, I'm just proud that we got a budget done. It was a pleasure to work with the House leadership on the other side. I've got a great deal of respect for those guys going forward.
Looks like the governor got a lot less than he wanted. He wanted to cut 65 in education. He only got 12.
I think it was closer to 20 in add-ons outside the level funding of the MAEP formula.
Doug, politically speaking, do you feel like the deal arranged on the budget puts Republicans in a good position going into November? Do you feel like this is a budget you can take to voters and say, here's where we stood on principles, and we were able to reach a more favorable compromise?
This comment may actually sound a little bit funny, but that part of it really wasn't, from a partisan standpoint, I wasn't really concerned about that. My standpoint is I was trying to get the best budget I could for the people of Mississippi. By my partisan affiliation, I'm a conservative, but the party conflicts or party affiliation didn't play a part, at least with me, in this budgeting process. Everybody just wanted a good budget.
What do you think about this idea of the special session to deal with civil rights funding?
I hope to have a budget adopted by then.
When will that happen? When's the budget going to get
I think we're going to take it up on the first part of the week. My goal is Monday, and hopefully, worst case scenario, we'll finish it up on Tuesday.
Is that delay merely a logistical issue?
With the conferees, we've got to meet, and that's where I'm actually headed when I leave here. Meet with the House conferees. They've got to work today about the language and moving money around in their respective subcommittees. And then it takes the staff about a day and a half to type these bills. And and plus we don't like working on Sunday.
But you don't think this deal's going to fall apart?
No.
I think it's a fair compromise. I do wish we could have gone a little bit further, but the fact that we were able to get this work done before we left is extremely important. I'm encouraged, even though it's slow growth, that there's some growth in the economy. Our tax revenues are up, and to that end, we should have been able to do a little bit more than we should have. I think that the state population, education, the universities and colleges, some of our agencies, they need a boost to get them through this last bad year that we're having. Even though people say that it's not going to get any better real soon, it's getting better steadily. They need to be able to hold on. You can't help the economy if people are not working, so we need to keep those people working as much as possible.
There's been a lot of talk about the utilization of those cash reserves that the
Yes.
state has.
Yes.
You know, all three plans that have been presented over the last week or so use well in excess of $400 million.
Yes.
So what happens next year when we're back here trying to wrestle with this budget and we have that much less in reserves that we can apply to a budget?
You know, we had a tax study committee that was put into effect, and they did a study. And none of those new tax plans or restructuring have we put in place. I hope that this encourages us to look into how our tax structure here in the state, what monies we are not collecting, how it can be done better, because we can't continue under this structure at the way the state is growing and maintain an adequate level of government support unless we look at how we have structured our tax issues here in this state. And so what I'd hope that would do is get us to look at that, see where we're not collecting money, see where we can do it a little bit better and get those revenues up.
As far as presenting not just the budget plan, but the work of the legislature to the voters come November, do you feel like the Democratic Party is in a strong position going into it?
I absolutely think we are. I think the House of Representatives, the Democratic House of Representatives, has established itself as a leader here in the state and in state government. We have stood firm on issues that we think are important to the everyday working man and woman: education, jobs, roads, and public health. We have stood extremely strong. We have carried that banner for the people, and I think we have policies in place. We have issues that we've stood strong on that we're going to take forward and let the people of Mississippi know that we represent them and we don't represent interest groups.
I'm excited. We got it done and it's complete. Both sides compromised. It shows the public and our constituency that we can come to an agreement, we can compromise with each other, we can work together. That's why we're all sent up here, and that's to work together for the good of all, and especially the taxpayers of Mississippi.
You heard some of the details on this budget from Senator Davis earlier this morning. Are there any specific concerns that you have for particular agencies and programs that may have been cut by this budget deal?
Well, you always like to fully fund education. There were some cuts there, but we had no choice. You can't write a check if the money's not in the bank, but we did compromise on it, and the House agreed and the Senate agreed, and we did come together with a full compromise, which I'm very proud of. We did level fund MAEP, so that's good, and I'm excited that we have come to an agreement and we finally have reached an agreement where we can all go home, hopefully.
Transportation, any particular thoughts on that?
Well, transportation is a special funds agency. We passed that bill Monday. Once again, I think we're okay on that. Certainly, you need more money. There's lots of maintenance repair that needs to be done. much work on our bridges that need to be done and performed, but we're working. It's a slow process, but I'm certainly excited and happy with what we have in the budget for transportation presently.